Happy New Year! It is the 1st of January. 2025 will be the best year of my life and of your life. This is going to be the year that sets us up so that every year is the best year of our life. The year of the comeback. The comeback? The comeback. After 2023 and 2024 shoved us on the ground and stomped on our face. And it might be a little bit late to be talking about this, or maybe it's right on time. I choose to believe in the timing of things. So if you're here, welcome. And just remember that no matter where you are right on time. We have 4 major goals. Now, if you're new here, I tend to talk in we and our a lot because me and my husband have very similar goals, and a lot of what I talk about here on the podcast is about the way my family unit, me, my husband, and my little baby boy, 1.5-year-old Henry, the way we are building wealth and building the life of our dreams. We're not there yet, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, because basically this is just our documentation of our trial and error of life. So yes, you will notice that everything I talk about on this podcast is we and our, and also a lot of the time it's because I am speaking to you directly, and it's sort of the concept, the idea of what I imagine is that you and I are at the same point in life, and that's why you're here watching and listening, and so we're kind of doing this together. Anyway, we have 4 major goals, my husband and I, my family unit. Our 4 major goals are 1, buy an investment property, 2, increase our income, 3, strengthen our marriage, and 4, enjoy our son's childhood. We are taking 4 steps towards these 4 major goals, and the first is to get laser focused. The second is to stay consistent. Now, funnily enough, being laser focused was the phrase of 2024 for me. It was all about putting my head down, blocking out the noise, ignoring everyone else, and doing what I need to do in order to move my life forward. This year, would you believe, that is going to be Connor's goal. We discussed this last night, New Year's Eve, and he talked about how he wanted to be really focused on everything that he did. And I was like, hey, that sounds a lot like laser focus. Let's adopt that. For me, for 2025, it is all about staying consistent. So now I know what I'm focused on. It's about being consistent on those things and making sure I never miss 2 in a row, and I'm not worried about perfection. I'm worried about consistency, because consistency will lead to competency, which will lead to confidence, and that is what I'm lacking. All 3 of those things. So, and then the third step, I guess, is to lean into discomfort or actively seek discomfort. And the 4th is to find the fun. Before we dive into the specifics of these steps, I just wanted to preface this entire conversation by saying I don't love New Year's resolutions. I'll be more specific on that. I don't love New Year's resolutions that look like this: lose X amount of weight, save X amount of money, be better. Because look, you are you, and you are always going to be you, and a new year doesn't mean a new you. It's actually a new year, same you. It's a new year, same you, with more experience, more learnings, and a bigger vision for the future. I don't love a diet. If you followed me for a while, you know that that's actually how my social media account started. I was very anti-diet, posting a lot of anti-diet sort of content, trying to inspire people to live a life of intentionality in that eating and diet space. I very quickly realized that I was well out of my depth, because that was not something that I myself had grappled with properly just yet. And I actually kind of got tired of talking about it. The more I talked about it, the more I fell into this like diet culture mentality. Anyway, it then morphed into money and productivity and things that make me feel more inspired, I guess. But yes, if you're an OG follower, you know I am very anti-diet, just like I am anti-budget. Now, I will clarify, I am anti a specific budget. I am anti the budget that most people go to set up. It's all about restriction, beating themselves up, and it's built around feelings of guilt and shame, and I should be better. There is nothing worse for your mental health, for your confidence, for your self-worth than setting goals that do not happen, that you do not follow through with. Nothing will kill your self-confidence more than that. Really and truly, from the bottom of my heart, I know, because I have been there, that when you set these sorts of goals, diet-related goals, budget-related goals, anything that is filled with restriction and based on guilt and shame and the concept of being a better person because you're not good enough as you are setting yourself up to feel like the biggest failure in the world and to like constantly chase your tail. It's not helping anyone, and it's definitely not helping you. But in saying all of that, I really truly believe that the new year is a super important time, a fantastic opportunity to do a pulse check on your life. Are you headed in the right direction? Are your daily activities, work, friends, relationships, leading you towards or away from the life you want to live? Do you feel aligned in your life, or do you feel like something's off? You're unhappy for some reason. Your feelings are actually really good guiding forces. So if you're feeling unhappy consistently, that is a really good sign that your life, you're living in misalignment. I know because I spent 5 to 6 years of my 20s in misalignment. I spent 5 to 6 years, close to 7 years of my 20s working super hard. I was such a hard worker. I worked multiple jobs. I think I had 5 jobs at one point. I worked full-time then I worked a full-time job while overloading my study. I did a double degree. I graduated with distinction average. I was a hard worker. I was swimming my little legs off, working as hard as I could. But one day, I popped my head up above the water and I realized that I was just treading water. I had not moved. I wasn't swimming like I thought I was. I was literally treading water, barely keeping my head above. When you reevaluate regularly, when you pop your head up every year to make sure that you're swimming and not just treading water, the course correction is a lot smaller and a lot less painful. My course correction after that 5 to 6 years in my 20s was heart-wrenching. It was a really, really difficult time that involved super difficult decisions. Checking in with your life regularly, making sure that it's moving forward and making sure it's moving in the right direction every year prevents you from waking up in your mid-20s, your 30s, your late 30s, your 40s and being like, wait, where the fuck am I? I thought I was heading east and I'm literally west. Like I am as far away from where I thought I was heading as I possibly could be. It's about being intentional with your life and not just letting life happen to you, but actively choosing your direction in life. And that's why I'm structuring my year, this year, 2025, in a very specific way. The first one is to get laser focused on what I'm doing. 2025 must be the year that we rise from the ashes, like a phoenix, the year of the phoenix, if you will, and start living the life we were born to live. It's time you start living the life you were born to live, the life you know deep down in your heart, in your gut, in your soul, you were supposed to live. It must be this year. It must, because I cannot bear the thought of another year of limbo, of another year of waiting for my life, the life I know I'm supposed to be living, to start. The desire to build something creative, the desire to live a fulfilling life in my work and in my family life, to have enough wealth to choose my time, to have time with our children throughout their childhood. That desire is so deep and strong in me. I'm taking these years so seriously because the pain of not achieving our dream life, of not stepping into our dream life, of being stuck here in this perpetual resistance and struggle is too much to handle. Now, I'm not delusional. I know that life comes with struggle in every phase of your life, and I know that struggle will find us wherever we are. But I know that this life that we're living right now is not the life we're supposed to be living. I mean, that sounds like I'm very ungrateful for my beautiful husband and my gorgeous little boy and our life. I love our life. I think we're living a very dreamy life. But I know that there is a life that involves freedom of time, freedom to be outrageously generous with resources and time, a life that involves nature, not living in a concrete jungle, of living in a beautiful green space closer to the beach, in a life that we have time to give to our family, our friends, and resources and money and wealth to give to those people, to help our parents through retirement. I know that that life is what we were meant for. And right now we are just sort of like trudging along through it. And like, again, I don't want to be ungrateful for the life that I have. We're super blessed. I mean, like, all you have to do is zoom out like you're on Google Maps and look at where we are in the world. We are super blessed. I know that. But I also know that we can give so much more. We can be so much more once we step into that life that we are supposed to be living. Getting laser focused on that vision and having that imprinted in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, that will be your guiding force for this year. Part of being laser focused is mapping it all out on a calendar. And this is where my like little planning, love of stationery, little inner child comes out. We are mapping everything out on a calendar. I found this concept of the big ass calendar. I'll link it below, a few months ago, and I was ecstatic. I love this sort of thing. This speaks to my inner child. And we're doing it now. We were supposed to do it last night, but life happens. Anyway, it's the 1st of January. We still have time. My thing is like the first week of January, you're still allowed to be in planning mode. And that's why this video is coming out now and not 2 weeks ago when it should have. But we are mapping it all out now this week so that we actually do it, and we're not behind the 8 ball. We're not kicking ourselves going, oh, that thing that we were supposed to do and we never did. Because I tell you, that is the worst feeling in the world. So we're following this big ass calendar thingamajiggy. We don't actually have the big ass calendar, and I feel sad about that because I love the concept, but I haven't given them my money, and that feels a little bit wrong. I mean, it's just a concept, but anyway, next year when we have more funds, I will buy the calendar. This year, we're just doing it on a normal calendar. So yes, I'm sorry, but I will happily promote, and I would actually love to have the calendar. It would make life so much easier, and it's like this big, beautiful thing that you can see everything at a glance, which I actually think is a really big, important factor. I'm very pro it. It's just that we have tight financial goals right now. So we'll promote and support in that way, just haven't actually bought the calendar. So anyway, the concept is there are 3 steps. 1 is a misogi. I love this. This is a life-defining event, and you do 1 a year. You can do more, but I think 1 is enough. unless you're crazy like our friend Mick. You do one a year, and they kind of serve as life markers. So you can look back and be like, 2025, the year I ran a half marathon. Yes, that is my Misogi for the year, and I am terrified. Terrified. It's only a half, and I'm still terrified. Anyway, so it sort of markers your life, but it also gives you a guide for the year because it's something so big that you need to work towards, to train. It gives you sort of like a little North Star, like in the way that your vision that we just outlined, your dream life is your North Star for life. Your Misogi kind of serves as like a mini North Star for the year. Gives you something to really like focus on. So mine is the half marathon. Connor's, now the half marathon for me is a big deal because I sort of dabbled in running. I was never a runner. I ran our fun run in high school. Like that's about it. That's as far as I went. When I had Henry, I really got into running as a form of mental health because I didn't have a gym membership. We were broke. Go back and watch the other videos. Broke as broke could be. So running was a free way of exercise. And I very badly damaged my back because I got into it way too seriously, way too quickly, right after a cesarean where I hadn't recovered very well. So ended up spending thousands of dollars trying to go through physio, whatnot, to try and fix it. I am still in the process of healing. I do also have a previous back injury, so it was just all round dumb. Should have put that in my failures video. So I have been on and off running for the last year and a half since Henry's been born, and I've run 10 kilometers. That's as far as I've gone. The idea of trying to do a half is like huge in my mind. So we'll see how that goes because I've also just had a few months off running. I hurt my back again, so a few months off. So I'm just trying to keep up my Pilates to give it that strength, and we'll see how we go. Consistency will really help me, I think, and like purposefully holding myself back and not going too hard, not giving 120% in every run, which is what I have previously been known to do, so that I can keep being consistent and not have injuries and not suddenly be like, oh, I don't like that anymore, it feels hard. So Connor's is to start a podcast, and I am beyond excited about this because the whole reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I've been wanting him to do a podcast. Connor would be an excellent podcaster, way better than me. Way better. I mean, the bar is very low. But because he was sort of dragging his feet on that, I was like, well, why don't I just do one? I'll do one about the things I'm interested in. Anyway, his is going to be about acquiring businesses, and his probably be a little bit more interview based about people who are in that space. And I'm so excited for that. So he will be working on that this year. That's his Misogi. And then beyond those Misogis, we are committing to 6 mini adventures. So once every 2 months. They don't have to be expensive. That's my favorite thing about it. Anything that we can easily commit to and not biting off more than we can chew, so that our goals don't clash. I often find that, when I was talking back about those like diet goals and like weight loss goals and money goals, so often they clashed because what is involved in setting yourself up to be successful diet related wise? Getting a gym membership, getting new sports clothes. I used to do this all the time. Buying, all the health food, all of that. It's expensive. It's an expensive way to live. And I'm not saying it's not worth it, but it often will clash with your financial goals. And then you feel like an inner competition. So if you can take those goals and turn them into something that has a deeper purpose, it's easier to kind of be like, well, I don't need all of the gear. Like if the purpose is to get stronger, like I can get strong in other ways, or you know what I mean? You find a different purpose. So back to what I was saying, these 6 mini adventures, they don't have to be anything expensive. It can be going for a picnic somewhere we don't normally go. But once every 2 months, we take a weekend, and like the focus of the weekend is to have an adventure. And it's finding that fun in our life and having experiences in life that then you can bring to the table in your work, in your creative life, it's really important to actually live your life as well as, this kind of working really hard and being laser focused. And then the third part of the Big Ask Calendar is taking up a new habit every 3 months. So we are going to take it up and then stack it so that by the end of the year, we are 4 habits closer to being the person that we believe that we are, the person that we want to be. On top of the Big Ask Calendar, we are adding the 2-2-2 rule. It's a relationship rule where you have every 2 weeks you have a date night, every 2 months you have a weekend away, every 2 years you have a week away. Like I said, one of our biggest goals this year is to strengthen our marriage. The 2-2-2 rule is great in theory, but a weekend away every 2 months is kind of expensive and a bit impractical when you have a young baby. So we're doing it slightly differently. So we're doing a date night every week. And by date night, it's not like getting all dressed up and going out for a date. Like that is also going to harm our financial goals. It's like getting out of the house, having someone watch Henry while he's asleep, and us going for a walk together. It's not anything crazy. It's literally just having dedicated, intentional time for our spouse to listen to what's been happening in their world, in their mind, in their work life, in their creative life, and have that space of conversation for dreaming and for planning and making sure we're on track. And it's just basically it's like hanging out with a friend consistently. Like you need to keep those touch points in your relationship, in any relationship, but even more so in your marriage. Why am I suddenly speaking in an English accent? I don't know, but I can't stop. We would love to do a weekend away every 2 months. We would love that. But it's just too expensive and impractical, and again would misalign with our financial goals. So instead, we are going to save for 2 big holidays this year for 2 big events. So one is my 30th in September, and the other is January 2026. That is our 5th wedding anniversary. So if we want to go away for at least a week for both of those events. And I was talking to Connor about this last night and 2 of my best friends, and I was saying I just feel like it's so expensive to go away for a week. Like it's really expensive. It's going to eat into our financial goals. Like our financial goals are quite big for where our income levels are right now in order to buy an investment property and to do saving, to save the amount of money that we need in order to make that happen. I feel a bit afraid of taking that time for the holidays, but if I know that our personalities, both Connor and I, we would always put it off. We would always be putting off these holidays and we would never go because our financial goals will always be the bigger thing. But these are big events. It's my 30th. It's our 5th wedding anniversary. These are big things that if we don't honor those, when will we ever do it? So right now, that's the goal. It's to get away for those 2 big events. And yes, I would love to go to Europe for my 30th. I always thought that's what I would do, but not possible. So I'll take the next best option. I don't really care. We could go camping for a week. We just need to go away somewhere for a week. So the Big Ask Calendar, mapping out our year, the 2-2-2 rule. All of these things are helping us be laser focused and pre-making decisions so that we know exactly what we're doing and when we're doing it, so that we don't get decision fatigue, so that our goals actually happen and we don't end the year thinking, what on earth did I do? Who am I? Why can't I do anything that I want myself to do? What's wrong with me? That is an awful way to end the year, and we're not doing that. So we're taking out the decision making throughout the year. We're doing it now so that there's no decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is the biggest killer of consistency. Your brain only has so much decision making power. It's fact, it's science. I don't know the figures, but I know it's true. It only has so much decision-making power, and that power gets exhausted every day. If you have ever found yourself on a diet, I hate these diet examples. I'm sorry, I hate them. But I just can't think of anything else right now. And I've felt it, so I know it's true. When you're on a diet and you've been good all day, and then you get to the end of the day and you suddenly binge and you're kicking yourself even while you're doing it. You're like, oh, what are you doing? It's because your brain has exhausted all of its willpower and all of its ability to make the decisions that you need it to make. So removing the chance to make those decisions throughout the day, throughout the year, when you're tired, when you've been going at 100 miles an hour and you're exhausted from it, and you just want the comfort, you just want the, I don't want to have to keep trying, because that's what kind of happens to me. It's like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to fight myself anymore, because that's what you're doing. You're fighting yourself to make the decision every time. So if you pre-make the decision, it sets yourself up as much as you can for that consistency, and so that you can achieve those results. I truly believe that the lack of consistency has been probably the single factor that has pulled me down in previous years. It's the one thing, when I look back at all of the things I have tried, all of the ventures I've tried, and the things I feel like I've failed at, when I look at those, the thing I can point to and say, this is why you failed, is the lack of consistency. I fall into traps of productive procrastination and letting my emotions dictate my actions. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like I'm succeeding, so what's the point? I'm tired. I'm unwell. I just feel like lying here. I feel embarrassed. I have to start thinking in a way that's like, screw the feelings, do it anyway. I have to start putting those feelings to the side and being able to do it anyway, despite how I'm feeling. That is actually really difficult. It's super difficult to master yourself in that way. And it actually takes a lot of practice. And that is why the fourth step is leaning into or seeking discomfort. I have to seek discomfort because I have to start practicing doing things despite my feelings, doing things despite not feeling like it, despite feeling unwell. I have to be able to push through the discomfort because that is where the growth is going to happen. It is a skill and it's really hard to do. I know it's really hard to do because I've battled with it my whole life. The only way to grow is to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. With all of this in mind, the fourth step is really important. The fourth step is to find the fun. It's to relish in the journey and to celebrate the journey more than you celebrate the achievements. Because what is life if not life? The journey, that is your life. Because what is the point of living if not life? If not the journey, if not the struggle? Those things are key elements of our life. It's not the achievements, it's not the success, it's not meeting your goals. And if I don't look for the fun, if we don't look for the fun, then what's the point? I personally am really going to work hard this year in finding the fun in the simple things. The walks to the park, the little giggles I have with Henry, the little moments with my boys, watching them play. Those are the little moments that are going to really make me feel like I'm living my life. We are also actively documenting our life in multiple ways. Through this podcast, through Connor's podcast soon, through taking lots of photos and videos and printing them off and making photo albums. We are actively practicing gratitude and appreciation of the journey so that we can stay on the journey. Because the moment you feel any sort of resentment towards it, or you're not looking for the joy, for the fun, you're going to feel like, what's the point? And you're going to fall off. So that's how I'm tackling this year. What are you doing? Let me know. Thanks for being here. Okay, love you, bye.